So, ladies and gentlemen, I just got back from the oral surgeon, so I'm in a considerable amount of pain, even with medication. But this is nothing compared to the pain I feel reading this story about Jeffrey Epstein, and there's nothing to see here, and there is no list. I am a huge Trump supporter, and even I have to call bullshit on this. I don't know what on earth they were thinking with this, but man, oh man, is this a colossal, colossal mistake. So I think that Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. And I believe that there are files relating to Epstein that, of course, we have not seen, but also reveal that there's a much larger story to this that we're not being shown. And the fact is, I was very bullish on Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. And at this point, I have zero faith in either of them. I wasn't a fan of Pam Bondi from the beginning. I was a much bigger fan of Matt Gaetz. But she has done an absolutely abysmal job as it relates to the Epstein files. Going out in public on Fox News and saying that you have the files and that they're on your desk and that you're going to be releasing them in the next couple of weeks. What an irresponsible thing to say. If you didn't really have the files, or even if you did, even if you were unsure, you shouldn't have said anything. Because now you're getting absolutely pilloried everywhere anyone looks, and the thing is, you deserve it. They all deserve it.
Conniption. I'm sure all of you have seen this by now, but I have to yap about it. It is infuriating. New information just dropped from the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, if you want to call it that. I don't think that nomenclature applies to this circus that's being performed here with all of this. It's a clown show. It's about as much of an investigation as Bozo investigating a pie that was thrown in his face. It's a fucking joke. Read this headline and tell me it doesn't make you fail the try not to fume challenge. This shit has got me steaming.
Anyone who is familiar with my channel knows that I have been very, very critical of Moist Critical in the past. Several different times I've called him out for some of his more boneheaded, indefensible takes. From things like the Pup Cup situation, which, by the way, he's still wrong about, to his blunder with his debate with Sneeko, where he basically said that he is fine living in a world where 9-year-olds can consent to, chemical castration and, genital mutilation, that he's perfectly fine with that he sees no problem with that if the parents consent. He later retracted that, but that was only after he confirmed it twice in the debate and got a bunch of pushback afterwards. That line right there lost him a debate. Moist Critical lost his debate with Sneeko, which is not something that I even thought possible, because Sneeko was taking the position that the age of consent should be abolished. So I've been very critical of Charlie in the past, but he is absolutely precisely right here. He is correct. It is infuriating. It is irritating for somebody like Charlie, who, I don't know if I call him anti-Trump, but he's definitely not pro-Trump. He's definitely on the left side of the spectrum. And somebody like me who is pro-Trump, somebody who is definitely more on the conservative side of the spectrum, we both agree that this story is bunk, and it is bubkiss, and it is bullshit.
They are trying to, with a straight face, say that Jeffrey Epstein never had a client list and did commit suicide. There was no foul play, no fishy business there. That was no horseradish, no flag on the play, just a classical suicide. Also, no client list, no blackmail, no evidence of either of those two things. How peculiar, considering it wasn't that long ago that they were flaunting that the client list was coming out, the Epstein files were releasing. They even gave the Phase 1 files to a bunch of influencers online for some.
This is one of the biggest tactical mistakes of Trump's second term. Yeah, this was an absolute disaster.
photo ops and they were posing like fucking prom pictures. They made a big hoopla that those were the Epstein files in their paws right there. And they'll eventually release to us plebeians out here. Well, if there's no client list, what the fuck is in those folders? What? Pokemon card binder? Like, what did you give them? Yeah, apparently there's no client list, so what did you hand them? Just an empty file? An empty folder? And not only that, Pam Bondi herself here, she has made so many statements about, like, how the Epstein client list is on her desk right now. You know, it's over there gathering dust. She'll eventually brush it all off and drip feed us the information as it comes, and everyone that's on that list is gonna face justice. She was cutting WWE promos about the Jeffrey Epstein client list. She'd even set hard dates on when it's gonna drop like it was a new album. Mark your calendars, sports fans. The Epstein files dropping on this date. And then the date rolls around and it's just nothing. Like, actually nothing Burger Central. Like, shit got more delayed than Half-Life 3. It just never showed up, even though she would set dates, and then all of a sudden she's got excuses for why it's not there. But now, apparently there was no client list in the first place, so what the fuck was sitting on your desk, Pam? How could the client list be sitting on your desk when the DOJ and FBI say that there is no client list? What an interesting pickle. That's quite a conundrum. She says that she had the client list, like a physical copy on her desk. She constantly has referenced the client list, spoken directly about the client list. But now all of a sudden, DOJ and FBI said it's not a real thing.
Yeah, this is not going away, by the way. So I know they were thinking, okay, maybe we can shut this down. I don't know why they would do that. Some people are speculating because Trump's on the list and Elon Musk was right. But, like, I mean, as far as devastating blunders go, this one is top of the list. Because the first thing that everyone, Democrats and even some Trump supporters, are going to think is, well, they're not releasing it because Trump's on the list. That's what people are going to say. That's what people are going to use. And so anything would have been better than this. To try to gaslight people into thinking, okay, he didn't kill himself, everything is above board, there was no client list. Like, holy shit. This is a tactical mistake. And I don't know why they did it. I don't know who's in their ear. But whoever it is, Trump, you need to fire that person.
I have no idea how she's even going to begin to tackle that plot hole there. It is crazy how stupid they treat the rest of humanity. Like, all of the people on the planet are lobotomites, and they can be fed any information whatsoever, and they'll accept it with a smile on their face and think nothing of it. And in some cases, that does happen. But in something like this, there should be 0 people on the planet that are happy with this and believe this, because this is the most blatant, fraudulent lie since Wes Watson lying about being 6 feet tall. This is absurd. This is just ridiculous. It is downright diabolical to be doing a cover-up job like this. It's literally fart investigated poop and found no shit. They have talked about it themselves for so long about having this client list and all.
He's right to be this incensed and this angry. And yeah, everything that he's saying is absolutely correct. And I don't know if it's the pain meds, but yeah, I agree with Moist Critical.
All of this blackmail evidence and everything about how all of them are going to face justice. Pam Bondi talked about tens of thousands of videos that they recovered as well. Like, how are you going to just wipe your ass with that and expect people to believe it? If anyone believes this, you need serious psychiatric help. If you actually swallow this shit they fed you with this information, that it's, a case of suicide, no client list, and no blackmail, you really need to take a hard look in the mirror. Because you are just not like a thinker. Like, you don't have a thinking cap on at all. Because this is just absurd. There should be no one on the planet that is fooled by this. This should make you mad. It absolutely should make you very upset. Because this is blatantly covering up for corrupt, evil people in high positions of power. I saw this said as a joke, but I actually think we're pretty close to them just denying Jeffrey Epstein ever even existed in the first place. I really think the next step here is they're going to start talking about like evidence to confirm that Jeffrey Epstein was never real. It was a code name for like a shadow operative that never actually existed. There was no island. There were no victims. I think we are not far away from them trying that play, because they are using every weird tactic in the book to try and bury anything even remotely related to Jeffrey Epstein, while trying to put on a strong face about how everyone's going to face justice. Well, where's that? That hasn't happened. And it hasn't happened for years. So what is up with all of this lying? They just keep kicking the can down the road. They have still not released the Epstein files, and now they've put the kibosh on it, saying the Epstein files aren't even real in the first place. It was all just made up, a fucking illusion. So now it is 100% ensuring everyone that was associated with all of that evil gets away with it. And they're just proudly doing it in front of the entire American public's face, spitting in everyone's mouth by trying to say it doesn't exist, it's not real. No client list, no blackmail, nothing like that, and he did kill himself. And apparently they're releasing some surveillance camera footage, like a lot of hours worth of that, to show that no one entered his cell during any of that time. Obviously just doing everything in their power to put the conversation of Jeffrey Epstein and everything around the topic to rest. So now you have the three-letter organizations all working together, the DOJ, the FBI, the DVD, the VCR, the BBL, all of them working together, now trying to sell this horseradish about there being no client list and no blackmail. Like, I cannot believe that they are just trying to just say that, even though it's been something they've supposedly acted on and investigated for years and made huge progress on, and want to get the information out to the American people because of these dangerous individuals that need to be held accountable and face justice for the crimes that they engaged in on Jeffrey Epstein's island. It was even used as a political talking point for some individuals to gain positions of power, using it as part of their platform about how they're going to fight for justice and release these Jeffrey Epstein files that have been, clogged up for so long and not, the information not out and available to the public. They were going to be the ones to break that dam. They were going to pursue this, come hell or high water, fighting night and day for it. And now those people have been elected only to flip-flop, and now they're totally fine burying the Jeffrey Epstein subject entirely. You should be asking yourself, why? I'll stop ranting on it, but it is just mind-boggling how dumb the government thinks everybody is.
Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that perspective. I think that it's not about them thinking that you're dumb. I think it's a couple of different things. If you want to know my opinion, I think that there are people on that list that they thought that they could release before the election and even into the first couple months. But I think that they've been getting pressure from international business leaders and stuff, and also from people that are within the American system, that basically it would be such a devastating thing for the entire world, governments. I think that Trump just made the decision that, yeah, we're not going to release this. Now, it's true he could be on the list as well. I don't know. I don't think he is, because the witnesses who testified said that Trump wasn't really he wasn't really somebody who would ever go to to the island. He used Jeffrey Epstein's smaller plane to travel from like New York and Florida and all that stuff. They weren't friends though after a certain point. We went over this. Jeffrey Epstein was banned from Trump's Mar-a-Lago after Trump realized that Epstein was flirting with a resident's younger daughter. Here's what I think it is. I think that Trump existed in a world where you knew that people were doing things that were wrong, but you couldn't prove it, so you didn't really say anything. And Epstein was a powerful person. So it would be like in my case, or maybe not in my case, because I call out Hassan Piker, I call out most content creators. But take somebody like Charlie with, 17 million subscribers, somebody that has a huge following, somebody that's within the sphere of influence for content creators. Imagine if he were to just come out and go, guys, I have irrefutable proof that Hassan is a terrorist supporter and stuff. I don't think that he would do that, even though he may have his suspicions, even though he may have, his ideas. As the video showed, in the last bit of content that I did, Charlie's collabed with Hassan in the past. So maybe he thinks it would make him look bad, so he's not going to say anything. I'm just giving you a suggestion. I'm not actually putting that out there as a legitimate reason. I'm saying that maybe you just choose not to talk about certain subjects because you don't have the ability to prove it, and you know that if you were to start talking about it, all the focus would come on you. Not to mention the fact that people talked about Epstein being an intelligence asset. And back then, I really don't think Donald Trump was in any sort of position to be rocking the boat in that way. Now, to say all that, I'm not making an excuse for Trump or what he did. I'm saying that in his position right now, he probably is looking out for the best interests of a lot of people. And that is at odds with him claiming that he wants to represent the American people. I think that all the files should be released regardless of the damage. But at the same time, I don't know how devastating it would be to the stock market. Like, for example, if you came out and it was revealed that all of the foreign leaders that are currently in power right now, all of them were on Epstein Island. And you had, Democrats, Republicans, everyone there. Now, to Charlie and myself, we were like, yeah, we definitely want to hear this. We definitely want to see these people prosecuted. We want to see some form of justice. But I want to speak logically for a moment. And I know this is going to be really unpopular, but what would that do to the stock market? What would that do to the economy? Like, I want to do more than I agree with Charlie. I agree with the sentiment. I want to see it released. But I want to do something a little bit more than most content creators, because most content creators will start and stop there, and that's fine. They're not wrong for that. But I want to extend it a little bit more. What would be the result? Say, for example, say that you had the leader of Iran who went to Epstein Island, and the leader of Israel that went to Epstein Island, and you had Putin who went there, Kim Jong-un. Like, I'm not saying that they did. I'm speaking in a hypothetical, that you had all of these world leaders. You have the royal family of the UK, Trudeau, and a bunch of these governments. If you were to reveal this, it would cause untold amount of chaos. I want them to release it. I don't want them to lie about it. But what this seems like to me is that Trump is willing to take the damage. He's willing to tank it because he thinks that the result of releasing this would be worse than him not. And that is actually pretty terrifying if you want to know the truth of it. That is pretty terrifying to me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I think of these things in a little bit of a different way. I agree with Charlie completely and totally. I agree with him 100%. It's maybe the only thing I agree with him 100% on. I mean, maybe we have a couple other things in common. But I look at this and I go, why? Like, if I were in Trump's position, why would I do this? Why would I make myself and my administration look so bad? Well, it would be because if the alternative, if I were president of the United States, I'll just be honest, if I were president of the United States and I had campaigned upon releasing the Epstein file and it had been a big thing, and then they came to me and they're like, okay, here's the file. Look, all of the major leaders, all of the biggest business owners, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Mark Cuban, Mr. Wonderful, everyone had been to this island. You can release this, but if you do, it's going to cause absolute chaos. And a lot of these businesses are not going to know what to do because their CEOs are involved. Maybe their board of directors are involved. It implicates our intelligence assets. Foreign leaders are implicated. If you do this, this is going to tank the world market. This is basically going to lead to the most chaos that we've ever seen in the world. I want to be honest with you. I wouldn't release it. And you can call me a cuck and a coward, and you wouldn't be wrong. But at the same time, I would think about the innocent people who didn't even knew that Epstein existed, didn't even really care, and their lives would be absolutely destroyed. I'm not making a defense for Trump. Some people will hear it that way. I'm just trying to think beyond this is bad and I'm against this, because I obviously am. What would I do in that position? If it were as bad as it appears to be, would I release it? And the answer is probably not. If it was going to cause all of these major problems, probably not. That's my take on it. I hope that they do. I hope that Trump reverses his course on this. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that this was just a simple blunder where Trump took some bad advice. He backtracks on this after some pushback, and it's revealed that it was just a misunderstanding and that we get the whole Epstein file and everyone that is implicated is jailed and arrested who was involved with underage girls. I just don't think that that's going to be the case. But I do not for a second believe any of the narrative that they're putting forward. And that's coming from a Trump supporter, a MAGA supporter, a Republican. And I don't believe it. And I think it's full of shit. I'm just trying to come up with some sort of reason why it might be that Trump didn't release it and they're doing a cover-up. I definitely think they're doing a cover-up, by the way. Crazy. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.